You're going in the right direction, though. What we called that, a good friend of mine, Drew Hanlon, termed that the unseen hours. And that the unseen hours in the game of basketball are when the lights aren't on, the cameras aren't rolling, and the cheerleaders aren't dancing. It's just you in a gym by yourself putting in work. And it's what you do during the unseen hours that will determine how good you are when the lights do come on and the cheerleaders do start dancing. And, you know, guys like Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant and Kobe Bryant spend an ungodly amount of time doing individual workouts and in the gym by themselves. I mean, many of those guys have stories of, you know, they'd call a buddy up to come rebound for them at 3 a.m. because they just want to start making shots. Like they're having trouble sleeping, and their remedy to that is to go make 1,000 jump shots. And you did bring up a really important point. Basketball is one of the very few major team sports that the primary skill sets are things you can work on completely by yourself. I mean, soccer, basketball, football, volleyball, it's helpful to have someone else to pass, catch, throw, do those things with. You know, it's harder to work on those things by yourself. But basketball, you know, two of the primary skill sets, ball handling and shooting, you can 100% work on yourself, and the best players do. You know, not implying I had any potential to play past college, but when I reflect on my own career, that was one of the biggest mistakes I made. I thought that just showing up for every practice and giving my best effort was all that was required. It didn't dawn on me that is simply the ante to sit at the table. If you really want to be good, you got to come in a couple hours early and stay a couple hours late. And you need to do that most of the time. I mean, it's not that I was a clock puncher per se, but I just figured, hey, coach has 5 practices a week, so that's probably all I need to be a good player. And it wasn't. And that's why I think that, especially in my college career, the game surpassed me. And I can think of plenty of times as roommates, Adam would be in the gym and I was choosing to do other college extracurricular activities and, you know, go out on the party scene. And Adam was in the gym, and his level of development as a player, just from the time we were freshmen to the time we were seniors, I mean, he left me in the dust, and it wasn't an accident. He was very focused on getting better. So yeah, the unseen hours in any area of life determine how good we're going to be. I mean, even before I take the stage for a keynote, it's all of the preparation and due diligence, excuse me, and rehearsal that I've put into leading up to that. And people often make the mistake of saying, you know, well, you're a keynote speaker, man, you get a lot of money for an hour of work. And I'm like, an hour of work? What are you talking about? That's just my game. You know, for every keynote, I'm putting in dozens and dozens of hours for that keynote. Now, when you still break down the payday divided by those hours, I'm still compensated well. So there's no complaint. But I just want to make the distinction. I don't work 1 hour. You know, if I have a keynote at night, I'm not working 1 hour that day. I'm probably working 6 or 7 just to prepare on that day. And it's the same thing. I mean, if we turn on an NBA game tonight, and, you know, at the time of this recording, Steph Curry has just been going crazy in these first few games. If we put on a game tonight and Steph drops 45, a very novice fan would look at that and go, man, he got lucky tonight, or wow, he just got hot. They have no idea that young man has been in a gym since he was 4 years old and has literally made millions of shots over the course of the last 2 decades that have put him in a position to score 45 points when the lights are on. And that's what we need to pay more homage to, is the unseen hours.
Yeah. I heard recently, I want to say it was maybe his trainer or something, I don't know. They said that this offseason, Steph was trying to, you know, he's always trying to take it to the next level. And this offseason, they decided that he wasn't, no shots counted if it hit the rim. So he was shooting, like, he had to make his shots perfectly, but if he touched the rim, it didn't count, which is like insane. And then you have, people outside saying, this guy's getting paid $300,000 a game, or I don't know what it is, you know, something like that. I mean, same for us. It's like, oh, wow. Oh, you made 10 grand this week? That's a pretty good weekend. Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that weekend, that's just the result of everything that you did before that. And that's the part that and it's cumulative too. I mean, every single rep that you get, every time you guys head out to the sand or into the gym or do anything, you're just adding another brick onto your wall. And as long as you're very meticulous about laying bricks as perfectly as you can, you're building and amassing this very strong, sturdy wall. And yes, there are certainly occasionally exceptions to it. But one thing I've noticed with beach volleyball, I mean, for the most part, you know, you need a certain level of experience and maturity to get to the level that you guys are, to be the kings of the beach. I mean, at least from what I've seen, most of the time guys are in their late 20s and early 30s before they really start to hit their stride of how good they're capable of. Now, certainly you can have a young whippersnapper in their early 20s that's a flash in the pan and shows some talent and they can do some things. But most of the time it takes years and then close to decades of ball control, of passing, of working on those things before you're at your absolute elite level. So every time Stephen Curry is in the gym or every time you two guys are in the sand, you're adding a few more bricks to your wall. And then when a weekend comes along and you win it and you make a nice, easy 10 grand and put in your pocket, that's not from what you did that day. That is a combination of everything you've done to lead up to that. And we just often forget that in our society, because the Instagram picture of holding the trophy up or holding the check up, people just think, oh man, I wish I could do that. I might start playing beach volleyball because I'd like to do that. It's like, okay, well, be prepared to do that 10 years after the day you start, or 20 years after the day you start. And I just think that gets so easily lost and forgotten